Welcome to the With Purpose podcast. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chrissy.
Life is full of ups and downs, but through it all, there is purpose.
A purpose that encourages us, strengthens us, and ultimately glorifies the Lord.
Let's walk this journey together on purpose with purpose.
Hello and welcome back to the With Purpose podcast with Chrissy and Karen. We have a very exciting episode for you today with a very special guest. In our bio on Instagram, you will read the words, real stories, truth, and encouragement for your journey as a Christian. And we hope that today's episode will be just that. John Marie's story has taken her all over the world. It has brought her some wonderful blessings, as well as some heartbreaking suffering. Through it all, and by the grace of God, she has kept her faith and continues to embrace life with joy and gratitude. Welcome, John Marie.
Thank you. I've been following you for quite some time now on Instagram. And the one thing that I truly admire about you is your authenticity, the way that you openly share your faith, your passion for your running, your love for your family, and just how you navigate life's challenges with such honesty and grace. So today we really just want to dive into your story and how your faith has shaped the way that you live, move, and tackle life's challenges. So to start off, could you share a bit about your background and what your faith journey has looked like up until this point?
Thank you for having me. It's a massive honor to speak about my faith and about my life, and hopefully it touches even one person's life. So, yes, I grew up in Bloemfontein in an Afrikaans Christian household. I am the youngest, a lot lamiki, of three children. My brother is the oldest. He's a lot of people might know him. His name is Ryk Neethling. So he used to be a swimmer for South Africa, Olympian. And my sister was 10 years older than I am, and she was also very talented. She was diagnosed with cancer at a very young age. When I was 3 years old, she was diagnosed with cancer, and it feels like that is where my life actually started. From what I can remember, I think 3 is a pivotal age where you start grasping things, and our family's lives were turned upside down. As a parent now, I can't imagine receiving that type of news as a parent, that your 13-year-old daughter was going through that. And I really commend my parents for never taking no for an answer. They demanded more tests, more like better doctors, just answers. So that is where my parents, I think they had strong roots in faith, and they taught us that we went to church, and but when you're faced with a storm like that, you're really challenged on another level completely. And I don't think I fully grasped that until later in life, but that really changed everything. My brother had to kind of fend his own way, because he was 16 at the time that my sister was diagnosed, and he was his swimming was taking off, and he was away most of the time, and really basically had to look after himself. As much as my parents wanted to be there, the person needing them the most was my sister. And I can't remember that much of it, but I was also in the mix, in and out of hospitals, and luckily we had lots of family that were willing to. Like, my parents didn't want me in hospital much. They didn't want me to experience that. But that shaped myself, our family, and our faith a lot. And I think if we didn't have, I don't even want to think about what would have become of us if we didn't have that, our roots in our Christian faith.
Sure. I'm just thinking, listening to you now, I mean, we grew up seeing your brother swim and with him having the success in his swimming. And we never knew, as the rest of the world looking at your family, we never knew behind the scenes you were going through this suffering. And just like with his journey, with your sister's journey, and with your own journey as well, I can just imagine the environment. Like, I think I'm just in so awe of hearing you speak about your parents as well, and knowing that in all of that they try to keep a sense of normalcy for you, doing the best for your sister, trying to do their best for your brother as well. And for me as a medical mom, like having a boy in and out of hospital as well, I admire you guys, and just saying like, well, our foundation was firm, praise the Lord for that, and just being able to pick up life and continuing on. And I think that's the core of what we're touching on today, as we listen to you, is you continued on through many of these ups and downs that life has brought you. You have continued on with your faith, and have continued on with life, and picked up your head, and that's so cool. So tell us a bit about your sport. We know about Ryk's swimming, but you also did swimming for a big time, and then it went into running, if I'm correct. So tell us a bit about that.
So I think my parents kind of felt like, well, we're in the swimming world now, so you're just tagging along. And thankfully I didn't like it that much at first. I remember I kind of acted like I fell asleep in the car on the way to swimming, as like I was around 6 years old. Didn't really pick up on it. And I remember at the very first school gala, I did like the dive, but I belly flopped. And so at that point I was 7, and my brother was he'd already swam at Olympic Games.
Sure.
And everyone was like all eyes on little Neethling, and little Neethling belly flopped, and they were kind of snickering and laughing. And my dad was like, we'll wait and see, one day she'll still be swimming and your kids will stop. And it did actually happen that way. So I found a love for it. I think I swam one gala and I won. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I swam SA schools, I think when I was 8 years old. And I won at SA schools, which was pretty big because it was all the schools in South Africa. And I think that gave me confidence, because I was a shy child. I was very scared. I was scared of everything. My sister's illness really affected my confidence. Not self-confidence as much as just I was scared of everything. And swimming gave me that confidence, and it carried on. It wasn't always a smooth, straight line. There were lots of dips, as with anything. But I competed at the Commonwealth Games at the age of 15.
What?
I was the youngest team member in the squad at that time, and it took me all over the world. I'm so blessed to have seen so many countries through swimming, and it gave me a sense of purpose in my life, and a lot of self-confidence. And but then there came a time that I had to stop swimming. I had recurring shoulder injuries, and I realized that I needed to start studying. I can't I need to have something in the back pocket. And so I stopped swimming and felt a little bit like I lost my purpose in life. Didn't pay too much attention to it because there were studies and I was getting married and all of that. But then I found running by accident, just kind of through boredom a little bit. It just looked nice. I saw someone running and it looked nice, and I was like, So backstory to the running, I never ran. I never did any type of sport that involved running, because a kid told me in school, I think we were around 9 or 10, she told me that I look like a Teletubby when I run.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I don't want to run anymore. My parents respected that. I was a typical third child. Like, they're so relaxed. They were like, well, then you don't run. Don't worry about it. If there's athletics at school, we don't take you to school. They were so chilled, and it suited me because I didn't have to face it. I didn't run for years, didn't own a pair of running shoes. And then I think it was just before COVID, just before I'd fallen pregnant. And then I was like, felt like I wanted to run, started running, and then took a back seat for a while while I was pregnant and had Everly. And then just after COVID, it really took off did my first road race and just fell in love with it, and it really brought me a lot of it. It was a bit of an escape. Swimming used to be an escape, but I think when you do it for so long, it becomes more of a job, and then running just kind of became a different type of distraction, and I didn't have as much it didn't involve as much discipline because it was something that I was doing for myself. It wasn't something that I grew up with, that anyone had told me to do. It was something that I chose to do.
No pressure, and therapeutic in a sense. That's amazing. So just now, like with last question on the sportiness of your growing up and your family, how do you feel like it has shaped you as a person growing up in an environment? Yes, like specifically now with regards to your sportiness, we're going to focus a bit more on your sister in a bit, but just how has that, being in a sporty family, I don't have a better word, active family, like, but talented, not just active, talented, active family, and going all these places, how has that shaped you as a person?
I think when it's the only thing that you're used to, it's kind of, to me, it's normal. But I have come to realize that it's not normal. But I think it has being brought up in a goal-driven. There was never pressure from our parents. It was kind of just the normal way of life. I'd see my brother do it. I don't know where he got it. Like, I think my parents instilled routine and discipline and follow through with what you start with. And if you're good at it, like I don't know how they did it. Luckily, they're still there, so I can ask them these questions, and they help and guide as grandparents. But it was just always the way that we were brought up, goal driven, and it definitely shaped me in knowing that if you work hard for something, you will get results. But I think with a different view on it, growing up, I always thought that was, if you work hard for something, you will get the results. And I think kind of adding faith to that, I realized that it's not always that clear cut. It's not always if you work hard for it. Sometimes you need to deal with the disappointment of, you need to have faith in the waiting, and sometimes it's not going to work out. It's not going to be that if you persevere and you work hard. Unfortunately, that's life. Sometimes something else happens, and you need to have faith in the waiting that the outcome will make sense later. Sometimes you're not going to go to the Olympics. I also had a dream. I also worked hard for it, but life happens, and things that are out of your control happen, and you can't control. You can only control your reaction to it. And I think I'm still I'm an all or nothing type of person. If I do something, I go all out, and that's still the same. And I think that my upbringing and the sporty side of it gave me that in all aspects of life.
Sure, that's very cool. That's amazing, especially hearing from the other side of someone who is not as sporty. It's so cool to hear that, and the motivation that gives.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even dive still, and I'm like 30, and I was always one of those kids that would stand by a pool and just bomb drop in, at school, and then I would start swimming. So that's, it's great to hear. But I do want to ask, how do you, I see on Instagram as well, you have these ups and downs where you can't maybe train. How do you balance that drive for achievement and then, grace and rest?
I think it came through a few mistakes and learning through lessons of rest is just as important, and it's just as big a part of progressing as training and pushing yourself, because your body gives you signs, and your body will tell you when to rest, and if you don't abide by that, then it's going to force you to rest. In lots of aspects. I think when some people, every person is different. My pain might not be pain to someone else, or your pain might not be pain to me, because maybe my threshold is higher, or maybe someone else's is higher. So you really need to know yourself and kind of take a step back sometimes and be like, it's okay to step back and take a break, because you like your body is telling you to do that. So I've learned through mistakes and pushing myself too hard sometimes and being forced to rest. And then now looking back, I'm like, that was not cool. That was not nice to be forced to. If I had just listened to my body sooner, I would have probably have been back sooner. So I'm trying to preempt what might happen if I take it too far, push myself too far beyond that.
I feel like there's a lot of lessons that overlap with like just how you're speaking about running and being active and just life in general. And that learns you life lessons as well. That's very cool. Okay, John Marie, but okay, then you decided you need to start studying something. At what point, okay, did you then go into university? And then where does your husband come into the picture? Tell us a bit more about that part of your life, please.
So in between all the swimming and very hardcore like self-discipline, and I met him long before we actually started dating. I met him through someone else that I was dating. That was the moment that we met. Kind of he stayed in the back of my mind, but didn't really think of it much. And then years later, I went to Pretoria to actually continue swimming while studying via e-learning. So I was studying from Korfsies in Bloemfontein, University of Free State. But I knew that if I wanted to give myself a chance with the swimming, I needed to go to Pretoria. And he was in Pretoria at the time, so we kind of reconnected there. Dated for a bit, all while studying, while swimming, and then he got the opportunity to go to Ireland. And we hadn't really, I hadn't thought that we would be getting married. I think we were dating for 10 months. And, but he knew that he wanted to marry me, and he felt like he needed to go to Ireland, but he would only do it if I go with him. So he asked my parents for permission to marry me and to take me to Ireland. There were big talks. My parents knew that this guy was, so I had a bit of not a reputation, I had a bit of a trend where I would maybe like get to know someone, and then within 3 months, my mom could see this is not good. Like I would get annoyed and little things would bother me. So she knew after 3 months, if this guy's still there, this is going to last. So she just had that mother instinct to know that this was right. And they were like, it's fine, you can go. So we moved to Ireland, got married, moved to Ireland. I was still studying via e-learning, which was great. I was studying law, writing tests at an examination center, and yes, we lived in Ireland as 22-year-olds. We were so young. We didn't know anything about the real world or like just adult life. Yeah. And we were married young and living there. So that was kind of a quick jump start. My plan was get married at 27 and it just kind of like all fast forwarded quicker and living in a different country. But I'm grateful for that, because it really taught us to just kind of depend on ourselves. And we didn't have anything to like, not that we like ever fought that much, but I think a lot of the time, if you have a bit of a small fight or you don't agree about something, you go to your parents or you go to your friend. And I didn't have friends there. I had no one. So one day we were having a silly fight. He was nervous about a match. He had a big match coming up, and I probably didn't think of him being stressed, and I got angry and I got in my car and I left. I didn't know where to go, and I just sat, I think it was at the university in Ireland, just sat there. And then he messaged me and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I'm angry, but I couldn't get a coffee because I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have anything. And I went back and we had a laugh about it, about like, we just have each other. We might as well sort this out and it was so good because we built such a strong foundation living in a different country and only having each other to depend on.
That's amazing. You were in Ireland for how many years?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
So, and you've still, when you think of Ireland, you think home.
Home, yeah. I think there's a quote that says you'll never, if living in a different country for a while, you'll never be quite at home anywhere, because I missed South Africa so much while we were living in Ireland. But now that I'm back, I miss Ireland so much. I never thought that I'd miss it this much. But will I move to Ireland now? Probably not at this point, because I have the majority of my family is here, and which was part of the reason we moved back, was to be with my parents and his parents, and we can't move everyone there. So there's a part of my heart that'll always feel like Ireland is home.
That's amazing. I mean, when I said to Vian, my husband, that we're talking to you today, he's like, oh, her husband played for number 8 for Ireland. And he loves Ireland.
Okay, that's cool.
I think he's like, oh my goodness, he would love to listen to this conversation now. He will in due time. John-Marie, and just like, okay, looking at you two, obviously, you're a beautiful couple. You're living in Ireland. I feel like for a lot of people looking from the outside in, might think, sure, newly married, young people, beautiful people, a rugby player, and you're studying and all that. This is the dream. But there were many challenges just in, not many, I mean, we're going to get into that. But I mean, when you started thinking of having a family, tell us about that. How many years into being married did that start being a dream for you? How did that unfold for you guys? It wasn't straightforward.
So we were married for 4 years, and I kind of had, like, we weren't in a rush to have children. I had kind of this little bucket list about where I want to go, but the bucket list never really happened. I just something inside me just kind of felt like, I feel like it's time now. And we didn't actively start trying. I'm kind of a very, very much of a list person. So I was like, okay, I just want to check that everything is fine. Like, made an appointment with a female health specialist in Ireland and did all kinds of fasted tests. And she was like, yeah, no, you're good to go. And I was like, great. And I'm healthy, never had any issues. So let's go. And nothing happened. But first of all, nothing happened because I knew nothing would happen because I didn't have a period. So I was like, well, don't really know what's going on, but the doctor said it's fine. So waited. And then I realized I need to make an appointment with more of a specialist. And so I made an appointment with this German lady in Ireland. She was a fertility specialist. Another bunch of tests, thousands of euros later. Went back for my consult with her, and she was like, oh, so sorry to tell you this. And she shoved a box of tissues to me. She's like, doesn't look good. You need to, like, you need to have started trying years ago. And I was like, 26. How's this possible? And she's like, you've got polycystic ovaries and this and that. And she's like, you need to start now. And at that point, my husband was in the British and Irish Lions tour in New Zealand. And he's gone for 7 weeks. I'm like, well, I can't do this without him. And he's gone now. So she's like, you're going to need to think of egg donors, or you're going to need to think of adoption. And I was like, this is not going to work. So I was a little bit angry with her, because I'm like, you feel like you are a little bit like fear mongering me. This feels too drastic. I'm 26. I'm healthy. Albeit I don't have a period, but like, I need to check this. So I came back to South Africa. Boere Afrikaans doctor. He's like, nah, man, you're fine. We'll do this. And you've got endometriosis. Don't have polycystic ovaries. Endometriosis. Did a laparoscopy. You'll be fine. Again, nothing happens. And we did a lot of fertility treatments. Nothing happened. Went back to Ireland. And then this amazing friend of mine who I'd met before, like years ago, and before I'd even met CJ, never knew her journey. And someone shared with me, but like, she struggled to fall pregnant, and like, speak to her. I spoke to her. Her name is Helen Ann. I know she won't mind me saying this, but she was like an angel sent to me. And she's like, you need to see this doctor. Gave me the details, made it, like, actually put in a good word, because he has a long wait list. Flew to South Africa, saw him. He was in Vitalab in Sandton. he said, well, I'm never going to fall pregnant because the chances of me falling pregnant naturally are very slim because I don't secrete any eggs. Like I don't ovulate. So he said IVF will most likely be the best chance unless I want to play, like I want to gamble with it and I might fall pregnant by chance. So we did IVF and we were lucky enough to fall pregnant the first time, but it was, I'm rushing the story now, but it was a long season of waiting. It was months, and I'd done we did an egg retrieval, and then I had to go back to Ireland, and it was a season of waiting. And I remember sleeping or not sleeping at night and praying and just like thinking about what, like I remember the anxiety of thinking, what if this never happens for me? What if I never have? And I mean, like, it's amazing to adopt and like amazing for people like that. But I had this desire, like such a strong desire to have a child of my own, and I had just had this massive desire. So I actually came across this podcast back then in 2018, and I went back to it when I was thinking about this journey of ours, and it was Twin Rivers Church in the United States. And in that season, they had this series about pray more. And it had I think it had 4 different parts, and it was, I can't remember all the parts, but I remember pray more confidently, pray boldly, and it kind of dissected the, now you need to help me, the Onze Vader. And it took the Onze Vader, it took it section by section. And I remember going for a walk and listening to this, and it guided me into more confident, bold, like goal-driven prayer. Because I'd often pray and then I'd get so lost in my anxiety, and I'd be like, oh my word, what if this never happens? And then I just kind of lose track. And I did that, and that season of waiting really, my relationship with God grew so much stronger, because this was the first time in my life that I couldn't work for something and get it. I knew that if I trained hard and I did all these things, I would swim this time. But this was the first thing that I had no control over it. It was completely out of my control. About it, like I couldn't even control the IVF. You can pay money and you can ask them, but I knew it wasn't a given. And in that season, I really grew closer to God, and I knew that it wasn't always outcome based. You needed to have faith in just whatever will be. And looking back now, that was one of my first moments where I knew that something that it tested and trialed, like that trial, made me appreciate being pregnant so much, everything about it. Whereas if I fully believe, if I had just fallen pregnant by chance, naturally, I would have complained, and I would have, the late nights waking up with Everly would have, it would have annoyed me. And I know that I am a better mother because of it. Not everyone needs to go through that to be a good mother, but I know that I needed the patience. I need that time of waiting made me appreciate the miracle of being pregnant. Knowing how, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about knowing the process of an embryo forming, and that waiting, I'm getting literal goosebumps thinking, I remember the day one, they told me, okay, you had so many eggs, so many of them, 7 fertilized. On day 3, only 5 were left. No, on day 3, only 3 were left. And I remember getting that call, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just 3. We had 14 eggs, 9 fertilized, 7 made it to day 1, and now we only have 3. And on day 5, they only give the embryos 5 days to develop. And on day 5, there was only 1 when I got the call. And I was like 1 didn't feel like enough, because I know that they were like, okay, well, this one is perfect. We can freeze it, and that one's perfect. And we're going to give the other 2 like one more day. And they did develop. They weren't that great, but we were able to freeze 3. But just knowing that process, what goes into it, made me realize you don't fall pregnant by chance. So many things need to go right, and then the embryo wasn't even like in my body yet, and so much needed to attach. And so that season of waiting definitely made me a better mother than I could ever have been had I fallen pregnant and not know what it takes to fall pregnant. So
I feel like I mean, we have different journeys, but I firmly believe, and I agree with you, that one of the gifts of suffering is gratitude. And it makes you just, small things moves you to bigger praise. And that's exactly what you're saying. And that's just, I mean, even then we can just thank the Lord for even the hard things. It's hard, but to thank him for opening our eyes to all that he does and how great and how big he is for the miracles of life. I don't know if you want to add something specifically to that now. Otherwise, I'm going to ask another question. Her name is Evelyn.
Yes.
That's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And she's
6. Yes.
Wow, John, how has motherhood been for you? How has it been for you to see her grow up and just to raise her?
It's such a blessing. That sounds very cliche. It is really such a blessing. Like, as I said, the journey really made me appreciate everything. And I don't know if she felt the gratitude, but she was just the most... she is still the most amazing child. She was just such an easy baby. She just went with the flow. She hardly ever cried. My mom thought that she didn't have any hearing. She'd like secretly, when I wasn't close by, she'd clap her hands and see if she reacted. She thought that she couldn't hear because she never cried. She's like, how does this child... My mom wanted to give her a dummy and she didn't even want a dummy, but she didn't need a dummy. She was just such an easy child. And it really made motherhood easy because she is just like the light in all our lives. She came at a time, my sister had cancer. She was in remission, and then the cancer came back, and Everly was just this beacon of light through all of it, and a happy child. She still is happy. She teaches me so much of like just being aware of the good things in life. And she is just she's just like my little best friend, and I need to remind myself that I'm a mother and I'm not her best friend, but she lights up our lives, and she's just amazing.
I think I saw you guys in matching dresses the other day. It's so cute.
Yeah, she loves to match. While she loves it, I'll sneak it in there every now and then.
I love that. Was she born in Ireland?
She was born in Ireland, yes.
And then you were there. Like, I want to get to COVID also a little bit, because I know there was also a bit of testing happening. So she was born in 2019?
Yes.
Am I right? Okay,
yes.
So 2019. Then COVID happened in 2020. And did you need to come back, or was that just what happened there?
So that happened. Still have a little bit of a grudge on that one. I'm trying to let it go. So CJ's brother was going to get married, and CJ couldn't come. He was going to be able to come, but COVID changed the entire rugby season, so he had to be there. It was a critical time for him to be there. But we had made the decision during COVID, because of COVID, for him to retire sooner, because we just knew that life is too short and we wanted to be close to family. And if this was going to happen, if it was going to be this hard to get to South Africa, we wanted to be close to family. And our parents were all getting older, and my sister was not well, and so we'd made this decision. But I was going to come for the wedding and go back again, pack up the house, and then we'll return. So we came for the wedding, and then the rules changed. For us to go back to Ireland, you needed to hotel quarantine, and they choose the hotel, and Everly was like a year and a bit, and I just knew I couldn't do that to her. So we were kind of waiting it out and waiting for the rule to change, and the rule just never changed. So we were stuck here, and he was stuck there, and he had to finish the rugby season, because even if he came to visit, he had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and there was just never enough time. So we were apart for just over 6 months.
No way.
That's
Yeah, and Emily was
crazy.
growing, like she was going through, like he'd seen her walk and she'd gone through those milestones, but she was getting older, quick, like
Personality.
And that, it changes, like every day is a change. So that was really hard to be so far apart, and knowing that it was going to be like he's packing up the house, and I'm a very sentimental person, and I wasn't able to pack up my own house. I wasn't able to do all the last things in Ireland that I'd like, the food and the people, and so that was a really trialing season. It was hard to go through that. Luckily for videos and FaceTime, and it got us through it. And he was busy, and I was not busy. I was trying to keep busy on this side, but luckily I was here with family, and that made it a lot easier.
I can't imagine. 6 months. That's insane. I can't imagine. Have you been back to Ireland?
I've been back twice, and we're taking Everly now. In November, we're taking her because she was so young. She knows she's born in Ireland, and she's very excited to go back, and she just wants to see the castles in Ireland, and she's so excited about that. And I feel like that's going to be a full circle moment, taking her to see all the places that we've told her about. So
that's amazing. Sure, I mean, it's beautiful from what I've seen. It looks beautiful. So I can
special
just
place.
imagine.
Thanks so much for joining us for part 1. We can't wait to share part 2 with you soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts with us. And remember that every day is an opportunity to live with purpose and to the glory of God.